Hi fourth graders, and welcome to day 1 of lesson 26. This week we're going to be focusing on relating decimals and fractions. So we're starting it today, and then we will actually have our comprehension check next Friday, just so you're aware of how this week is going to lay out. So we're starting today the 14th, and we'll finish this one up on Friday the 21st, okay? So today we're going to be doing 3 pages together. We're going to be doing pages 535, 536, and 537 together. And then on your own, you'll be doing page 538 and then just showing me when you're done to get credit for today's class. So let's get started. So we're going to first look at page 535. And remember, we're relating decimals and fractions, so we feel confident with fractions. Now we're going to start adding decimals into it. So Max has 248 pennies. How many whole dollars does Max have? What fraction of dollars is left over? So let's just talk about what we know from this problem. So first of all, we know 100 pennies is equal to $1. So that means we know 200 pennies is equal to $2, right? So 200 pennies is equal to $2. And then if we have 248 pennies, I'm just going to say 248p minus 200p, that gives us 48p left over, right? So, since 100 pennies make $1, the pennies left over are 48 over 100, right? Because we know that 200 pennies is $2, but then if we subtract the 248 that Max has from the 200 that we know makes $2, we have 48 pennies left over, and we know 100 pennies would make a full $1. So we have 48 out of the 100 that we're going to need to make the next $1, okay? So if that's the case, Max has 2 whole dollars and 48 1/100ths of $1. So he has 2 whole dollars and 48 pennies, right? So he has 48 out of the 100 pennies he needs. So come into the meat. Show me what that would look like in money form, okay? So if he has 2 whole dollars and 48 1/100ths of $1, what would that look like if setting it up like this, okay? So join the meat and tell me, or write it in the chat. Just let me know how this would translate into money, or if someone was telling you it costs 2 whole pennies and 48 1/100ths of $1, what would that look like in money, okay? And then we're gonna just look at how this would look using base 10, okay? So if you would flip to page 536, first we're gonna write the fraction of $1 Max has as a mixed number. So he had 2 whole dollars, right? So 2 and 48 over 100. So it's just combining the 2 numbers we found from the previous page. So now, you could have also done it like this using the base 10 block. So fractions with a denominator, 10 and 100, can be written as decimals. The models show the fraction 48 over 100. So if we look here, this one, so 48 hundredths is 4/10, right? So 48 hundredths is 4/10 or 40, right? And then we have 8 hundredths. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 40 here, 8 here. So you can also see it here, 10, 20, 30, 40. And then we don't have just enough, right? We don't have enough to make another 10th. So with decimals, it's actually opposite of what we know, right? So when just talking about place value, it's ones, tens, hundreds. Now when going the other way, hundredths are smaller than tenths, and you can see that here, okay? This is 1/100th, and then this is 1/10. So it's backwards. 1/10 is actually larger, so we have 4/10 and 8/100. So that's why the 8 isn't in the ones place, but we call it 100. It's actually smaller than tenths. So if we were to write the mixed number 2 and 48/100 as a decimal in the place value chart, it would be the whole number part is 2, then we'd have our decimal point, and then we'd have 4/10 and 8/100, so it would be 48/100. And that would make sense because this right here, this part less than 1, is equal to 48/100, right? So it makes sense that that's how we would say it. So it's 2 and 48/100. This decimal point, say and. This is where we say and. So 2 and 48/100, okay? So fill in the blanks to tell how you would read the decimal. And look at that, I'm one step ahead of the game. So it would be 2 and the part less than 1 in word form. So it would be 48, which is our number, right? 48, and then place value name of the last digit. The last digit is the 8, so the place value is the hundredths, okay? And then I want you to skip this since you're already telling me about page 535. And then if you have any questions, please pause here and ask. If not, we're just gonna fill in our vocabulary for this lesson, okay? So if you're ready, we're gonna flip to page 537. And our vocabulary word this week is decimal. So what is a decimal? A decimal is a number containing a decimal point that separates the ones place from the tenths place. So the decimal is when we get smaller than 1 whole, right? So it's separating the ones in the tenths place. And an illustration would be like that table we just did on the previous page. So we have the ones, decimal, I'm gonna write really tiny here, sorry, tenths, and then hundredths. This is definitely not gonna fit. Say so ones, tenths, and hundredths. So we have 3 and 58/100ths, okay? And some examples would be like 7 and 5/10ths, or we could have a 0 as the whole and just have 12/100ths, or we could have 6 and 8/100ths, okay? And then non-examples would just be a whole number or a fraction, okay? These are not examples of decimals. And let's just fill in number 2. Practice makes progress, right? So, whole number in word form, decimal point, part less than 1 in word form, place value of the last digit. And the number we're using is 1 and 32/100. So, whole number part in the word form is 1. And the part in less than 1 in word form is 32. And the place value name of the last digit, well, we have tenths and then hundredths, so it's 32/100ths, okay? So just remember, it goes ones and then decimal point, tenths, hundreds. So you might want to star this page. This could be a good one to go back to just so you remember this table, okay? And that way you know the place value of your digit. So make sure you show me your completed vocabulary page, and then when you're ready, you can move on to page 538. Just make sure you either show me live on the meeting or on Seesaw, okay? I'm here if you need me. Happy decimals.